Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Shotgun snap desire. He's back in the mud. And Franklin Walker got a hold by
50, 40, so long everybody.
Throws down the middle. Caught more. 15, 10, 5.
The fans are ready for it.
Yes, is Eric down? You know what? Is Eric on now?
Yeah, we're going to send
Eric,
it down
can you hear us?
to Hondo and Eric right now down on the field.
I don't know if Eric can hear us.
Hey, can you hear me?
He might be just getting him a cup of coffee right now. I'm sure that wind's whipping
Are you
around
using my mic
pretty
that
good.
didn't
But
work?
Eric and
Well,
Hondo
come sit next.
standing by down on the field.
It's going to be, I think it'll be a battle. I hope it's not as close as what you're anticipating. I don't think that would put us in a good situation. I think the situation that we're looking for, the most positive way to come out of here is to handily win, do better on defense, and come out of here without some injuries, because we've got, in a couple of weeks, a pretty good guy. And so we're going to take it down to the field with Hondo's down there right now with Eric and
let me just say,
Loran. If these three guys could sit any closer, we think you guys are in the Alps.
And Neil, I'll tell you too. Hopefully the Dogs get off to a better start, because yesterday we were about 15 minutes outside of Kevin's house on the interstate when I realized I had left our passes in my car back at his house. So that was not a good start to the day. Hopefully the Dogs will have a better one here this morning.
Well, JD, it's funny because last week I left my pass at the front, or 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, I left my pass at the front desk, and Scott had to turn around and drive me all the way back, 20 minutes back to the hotel. So. That'll
test a marriage that's been so short with me and Jeff, and we have to go to counseling next week, so it's kind of sad. But hey, one quick question: Is Eric down there?
Yeah, I have him right here.
Somebody was asking me. I think I was 4-0 against Vandy. Eric, what was your record against Vandy?
2-2 for the Zebras.
I still can't hear you. A lot of interference down here. I'll tell you what. I was reading through notes just prepping for the game this week, and I had a little twinge of pain that went through me when the last time that the Bulldogs have lost here was my freshman season. And we ran 866 flat about 3,000 times that game, it felt like. And the tight end, the middle read, or the first read on that play, I kept jumping off of him quick and tried to force the deep dig. And I don't think I threw many interceptions, but there surely weren't many completions. I ended up getting yanked out of that football game. Greg Talley comes in and does a great job. He almost brings us back. But, yeah, that was the last time that we've lost here, so I don't have great memories here.
Well, I was set up because I was too young to watch the game when you were playing.
I
have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, listen, Kevin, I appreciate you bringing that up. Don't worry.
They made me.
I know where you live.
They made me.
That's okay. Yeah.
Let's don't talk about that missed extra point against Pittsburgh, okay?
You guys are funny guys. Well, hopefully our Bulldogs could follow the lead of the Commodores' other SEC opponents this season. Jeff Dantzler was just talking about jumping out to a quick start. Vandy has been outscored in the first quarter 54-17 this year, including trailing in the first quarter by double digits in all three conference games, those against Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Missouri. Our play-by-play man, Scott Howard, is standing by. Eric Zier, Loran Smith down here on the field with me. Today's Tailgate Show is powered by Yamaha Generators. For Jeff Dantzler and Kevin Butler, this is Neil Hondo Williamson. Our Tailgate Show is coming up next on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Eric, this place is packed.
No doubt it's going to have an impact.
Dogs need that kind of toughness.
It was a big play kind of
A terrific day of football ahead.
Welcome to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Take out your Richter scales.
Keep them from getting outside.
Halftime, Ohio State leading Michigan.
What do you see out of their secondary?
Play a lot of press coverage.
I expect those guys to come out full board today.
The Bulldog Tailgate Show is sponsored by Country Financial. Visit countryfinancial.com. Grow your own way. Cook's Pest Control and Centricon System. The unbeatable combination for termite protection. Georgia's own credit union. It's your future. Own it. By Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit them online at gfb.org. By Serve Pro. Fire and water damage cleanup and restoration. Serve Pro, like it never even happened. SunTrust Bank. It's never been easier to switch to SunTrust. Visit suntrust.com/switch. And by Georgia Power, official power source of the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, it's the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
3 receivers and a tight end. Lynch on the right end. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Play fake Douglas. Make it boot. Murray throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Conley! On a crossing route from left to right. He caught it in the middle of the end zone. Beautiful execution by Murray.
Today, our 15th ranked Bulldogs visit Vanderbilt Stadium to take on the 3-3 Commodores in a game with huge SEC East implications for UGA and bowl hopes possibly riding on the line for the Commodores. Good morning, Bulldog Nation. Joining me here on the 42.5-yard line, tailgate show icon Loran Smith and one of the greatest passers in SEC history, Eric Zier. Meanwhile, upstairs in the Vanderbilt press box is the voice of the Bulldogs, Captain Scott Hawkeye Howard. And I call you Hawkeye because, Doctor, please fill us in on the latest MASH unit roll call.
Well, didn't you guys notice my dress? I'm more of a clinger today.
Nice, but those shoes don't go with that purse.
No, thanks for telling me that.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'll run through some of the guys who are not done for the year, and you can tell us what we might expect to see from them again.
I like the way you put that. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I start going through the guys who are done for the year,
yeah, we'll be here all day.
All day, yeah. Wide receiver Jonathan Rump.
Jonathan Rump practiced this week. Started on Monday. Could get in the game today.
Okay. Safety Trey Matthews.
Trey Matthews is not here. Did not make the trip. Is not ready to play yet. So we might, it's going to be a little while longer for him.
Okay, I held him for third because just for anticipation's sake, running back Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley tried to give it a go in some drills this week. He's not quite there. He's not quite there, and I would expect him not to play today. I don't think that's a big surprise. I think that he's going to be ready to go by Florida. I think that's what everybody's hoping for.
All right, safety Connor Norman.
Safety Connor Norman should be ready to go in uniform today.
All right, well, Michael Bennett not till Florida, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, at the earliest.
And then how's Colin Barber?
Colin Barber is okay if he's kind of shaken off the effects of that concussion he suffered in the Tennessee game. We should see him today, but there was competition for the punting position this week with Adam Erickson and Colin early in the week. So we'll see how that goes. We could see both of those guys today, but certainly Colin's available.
All right, did I miss anyone?
I don't think so. I think you covered them all.
All right. Thank you, Scott. For Georgia, a possible third straight trip to the SEC championship game is riding on the Bulldogs winning and staying alive in the East. Vanderbilt has loads of motivation as well.
I think they want 3 in a row, and so for them, it's just as much as a big game for us as for them as it is for us.
Loran Smith, the Commodores have shown us in 2006, 7, and 11 that there are no gimmies in this league any longer.
No gimmies anywhere. You got to look last night at Central Florida in Louisville, and we can always point back to Appalachian State in Michigan. There's just so many good football players today, and there's a limit on scholarships. That's part of the problem. But if you look around, who's taking up football? Everybody. Kennesaw State, Mercer. There's just plenty of players to go around. And then the good schools can't take them all. And like we've talked about before on this show, it's down now to where the team that is the deepest usually is the team that does the best job in evaluation and recruiting. And that's always been the case, but it's more critical than ever now because of the numbers.
With all the injuries to the offense, Aaron Murray and the Bulldogs will rely again on a cast of backups who have been thrust into key skill positions. None more than freshman running backs J.J. Green and Brendan Douglas.
They're very intelligent guys. They're able to pick up the offense very quickly, pick up their run schemes, their pass blocking schemes, their route running schemes, and and that's why they've been able to be so successful. I mean, they know what they're doing out there. There's no, as freshmen, I don't have to tell them what to do at all.
There's Aaron Murray. Eric Zier, we were all impressed with Douglas and Green. However, the offensive line did not play to the caliber it had against LSU and Tennessee. In fact, Vandy defensive end Kyle Westman offered, quote, I think we have a good opportunity to exploit a couple of guys on their O-line that have struggled with some pass rushing moves and that type of stuff this season, unquote. Those sound like fighting words to me, partner.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does. And I'm not sure against any team in the SEC, much less this Georgia football team and this Georgia offensive line, if I want to be the one putting up bulletin board material. Listen, this offensive line, while we did struggle some last week, more pressure than we've seen on Aaron Murray really since the Clemson game, and I think that had an effect on the football game. Obviously, the turnovers that were created, that pressure had a lot to do with that. But this offense, behind this offensive line, averaging 517 yards per game, 37.5 points per game. They are doing a lot of things right. We've got a freshman running back coming in, averaging 8.3 yards per carry. They are opening up holes left and right, and they're doing it pretty consistently as well. So not the game that they wanted, but I'm not sure if I'd be the one to ever advise putting bulletin board material on the wall for this team in this unit.
Boy, I agree. Scott Howard, the Missouri breaks last week came in the unforgiving form of turnovers, the 4 of which were self-inflicted plague by the Dogs. It's just hard to survive that kind of damage.
Yeah, no doubt, and especially when one of those is an instant 6 points for the other guy's defense, like that fumble return for a touchdown for defensive end Michael Sams last week. Georgia's last in the SEC in turnover margin for the year. They're -4. The Dogs in the 2 losses to Clemson and Missouri have had 6 turnovers, -5 in margin for those 2 games. +1 in turnover margin for the other 4 wins. That's such an important key to every ball game, and Georgia needs to win that statistical category today to win this game.
Well, you're talking about the plus-minus there for turnovers. Georgia has struggled creating them. Mark Weiser of the Athens newspapers did a nice piece on it this week, and it's not as though Coach Grantham's teams haven't been successful in forcing turnovers in previous years. Is youth the difference, Loran?
I think most people would agree. 9 guys on the defense this year or last year are in the NFL today, making NFL rosters. But Georgia just doesn't have a playmaker, and if you're going to be a playmaker, you got to have experience. How good last year were we because of experience? Very, very good. And Jarvis Jones, he didn't learn how to play, when he was a freshman. That was part of it. So I think it's also a little bit like we're just not putting things together. Something is missing, not because of a lack of effort or attitude. You just have to sort of get in sync, and we haven't done that yet. And a playmaker would probably make a big difference.
All right, this afternoon there remains a very real potential of a berth in the SEC championship game for our Bulldogs, and we will take you right up to kickoff here with the Tailgate Show. Thank you, Scott, Lauren, and Eric. The studio host and producer of our Tailgate Show is Cabell Philpott. Our engineer inside Vanderbilt Stadium is Tony Schiavone. He's the most accurate kicker in Bulldogs history, and one of his field goals in Nashville helped save a season and propel the Dogs to the number 2 ranking in the nation. Lauren's special guest is next on our Bulldogs Tailgate Show, powered by Yamaha Generators on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Setting the table for Dogs football.
Near sideline, runs by the left man and had a chance. So long, everybody.
You're listening to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Dogs have 4 down linemen. Here comes a 4-man rush. Franklin pressured, and he's sacked by Ray Drew, the disciple of disruption. And another sack for Drew. That's his 2nd of the day.
54 degrees here in Nashville. Overcast sky as the sun is trying to peek out from behind those clouds. It's going to be cloudy all day, mostly cloudy all day. Looks like we're going to dodge the rain, at least here for the Tailgate Show. In fact, they're saying not too bad. 0% of precipitation right up until 1 o'clock. So we shall see what's happening there. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Bulldogs Tailgate Show. Here's Lauren Smith with a special guest.
Thank you, Neil. Joining us from Dallas, Texas, Brandon Coutu kicked the field goal in 2007 right here at Vandy for Georgia to win a thriller a comeback thriller, 20-17. Brandon, what do you remember about the game? Give us a few details. How long was the kick, and what were the circumstances that set up the kick?
Well, I remember that we recovered a fumble late, and we were driving. It was a close game, and I remember that we were on the 40-yard line, and I thought I had the opportunity to kick a long one, and I believe it was Trick Chandler caught a ball across the middle and moved us up and ended up getting us in position for a 38-yard field goal, with time expiring, and we were able to, get the victory. And it was actually, pretty important victory for us because, we kind of got hot after that and we went on to win, I think it was 8 or 9 games in a row or whatever it was.
Well, that was certainly a memorable kick in your career. We all wonder what goes through a kicker's mind when you're lined up to kick what could be the winning kick, make the winning kick. What goes through your mind? How do you shut out all the distractions?
Well, I think it's important that as long as you're prepared for a situation like that and you feel prepared, then you're not going to be, as nervous. For me, I was typically excited to get the opportunity. We work hard, in the off season, during the season, and it's a different position than playing linebacker and you're out there hitting all day. But you kind of live for those moments where you can, help change the outcome of a game and help your team to pull out a win or whatever it might be, and just be a part of it. Part of a big victory. So, for me, I think it's just preparation that goes into it in the off season, during the season, and just being prepared for an opportunity like that and have more excitement than you have. You hear guys who are on the sideline who are nervous and things like that. I think staying loose and being excited to be part of that type of victory and just helping the team win is what, kind of drove me. So.
Well, you have to prepare yourself mentally to think positively. I guess a pessimist say, I hope I don't miss this kick. A kicker can never think in those terms. You went on from Georgia to kick in the NFL. How many years were you in the big time?
I played, I was with the team for 3 seasons. I ended up actually having an injury that I think came probably from college, my college days, and ended up having 2 hip surgeries in my stint with Seattle. And then this previous year, I was with Jacksonville and tore my hamstring. That pretty much ended my career. But, it was fun while it lasted. And looking back on it, I had a great time. I was fortunate to have the opportunities I did. Unfortunately, injuries really held me back once I, left Georgia and everything, and fought hard to keep getting back, recovering from hip surgery. And unfortunately, it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. But at the same time, I have great memories, and a lot of those memories come from Georgia.
We know you're in Dallas. Bring us up to date. What are you doing now?
Well, I'm doing commercial real estate, specifically industrial in Dallas. Pretty good market to actually work with your son, who is an office broker here in Dallas, and we work with the same company. And it's a big change going from playing football for so long to getting into the real world. But it's exciting to kind of start something new. Everyone's going to have to go through it at some point, no matter how long you play football. And it's an exciting time to change and try to, start from the ground up and try to, basically make something out of myself in real estate.
Well, we wish you the best. Dallas is certainly an active real estate market now. It's one of the cities where, because of oil and gas, the economy hadn't been hurt as bad as other cities. I'd like to thank Brandon Coutu for joining us and wish him the best. And I just want to say to Eric Zier, he didn't bring up 1993, the Vanderbilt game, 25 of 35 for 375 yards and 4 TDs. Eric, you should have let Kevin know about that game. Go back over to Neil.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you very much. Brandon Coutu, I always enjoyed watching practice with his dad, a really, really nice man. We would spend some time together there on the sidelines. And Brandon Coutu, like Alan Levitt, Rex Robinson, Kevin Butler, and Billy Bennett, a championship kicker. We won a championship with Brandon in 2005. When the Dogs captured that title, that SEC title, Brandon led the conference in scoring with 114 points. He led the team in scoring in 2007 when UGA finished number 2 in the nation. And you may not know this, Dogs fans, but Brandon Coutu is the most accurate kicker in Georgia history. His career field goal percentage is 80.3%. That's number 1. Plus, he never missed an extra point in 114 tries.
And Dog fans, join us every Sunday from 10 until noon live from the Hilltop Grill as host Jeff Dantzler and Kevin Butler break down all of the action from today's game.
All right, thank you, Eric Zier, and thanks for tuning in this morning. We know it's early, and you're probably running around doing some errands or maybe enjoying a cup of Joe, or whatever it is. We sure appreciate you being with us. 15th-ranked Georgia versus Vanderbilt. Today from Nashville, the crunching of shoulder pads and bodies commences at 12:10 on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Message.
Now, scores and highlights from around college football. This is the Charter On Demand scoreboard. Switch to super fast Charter Internet. Call 1-855-493-CHARTER or visit charter.com. From the IMG Network Studios, here's Cabell Philpott.
The 15th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs getting set to battle Vanderbilt at high noon this afternoon, coming off 2 losses. Dogs trying to right the ship today in Nashville. A noon kick as well on Rocky Top. 11th-ranked South Carolina on the road at Tennessee. South Carolina back in control in the Eastern Conference of the SEC. Or in the mix, rather. Georgia still in control of their own destiny. South Carolina, a little bit of work to do, but a little bit more hope after Georgia lost last week against Missouri. 12:21 kick, number 22 Florida in their first trip to Columbia. Take on 14th-ranked Mizzou in the battle of the backups. In that one, the Tigers at 6-0 trying to stay undefeated against the Gators. A 3:30 kick, number 24 Auburn on the road, and number 7 Texas A&M. Tigers trying to take down the Aggies' Johnny Manziel and prove that they are for real in the SEC West. A 7 o'clock kick, 6th-ranked LSU takes their talents to Oxford to take on an Ole Miss team reeling after 3 straight losses. And also at 7, top-ranked Alabama will take on Arkansas. Top 25 action today. Number 2 Oregon takes on Washington State at 10 o'clock tonight. A top 25 matchup at 3:30. Number 9 UCLA visits 13th-ranked Stanford. The Cardinal upset last week at the hands of the Utah Utes in Salt Lake City. And also the big matchup today, number 5 Florida State takes on number 3 Clemson. It's the first matchup of teams ranked in the top 5 this season. In each of the past 4 years, the winner of this game has gone on to win the Atlantic. Plenty on tap today. We'll keep you up to date throughout the entire broadcast. Now let's send it back to Nashville and Mr. Country himself, Neil Hondo Williamson.
Oh, you're making my wife and kids, who actually like country music, laugh a lot. They love it, and I'm a rocker jazz kind of guy. A little mix there. Okay, thanks so much, Cabell. Our Bulldogs with plenty to play for, including a legitimate shot at a berth in the SEC championship game.
We're 4-2. You know, we're not 0-6, 1-5. You know, we're 4-2.
Yeah, that's right. Dogs senior safety Connor Norman has the right attitude. Hope yours is screwed on correctly too.
And tailgaters, show your Bulldogs in public spirit by throwing the ultimate tailgate party on game day. You could be selected as a Publix tailgater of the game and win a $100 Publix gift card. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
SEC opponents have averaged 42 points and 530 yards per game versus Vandy in 2013. How will Georgia's beat-up offense fare today against the Commodores? Eric Zier returns with his answers in 2 minutes on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
You're listening to Georgia football.
Pick that thing up, get on it, do something with it.
We're little jitterbug type thing.
Now back to more of the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Murray in the shotgun on the near hash. Will pull it down and run it. Now he throws on the run, and it's caught in the end zone. Brendan Douglas, the touchdown. About a yard and a half across the goal line. Murray rolled to his near side and threw off balance, and there was Douglas to make the catch and the score.
Aaron Murray threw to his backs a lot last week against Mizzou. Between them, Brendan Douglas and J.J. Green totaled 11 catches.
They're very intelligent guys. They're able to pick up the offense very quickly, pick up their run schemes, their pass blocking schemes, their route running schemes, and that's why they've been able to be so successful. I mean, they know what they're doing out there. There's no, I mean, as freshmen, I don't have to tell them what to do at all.
Loran Smith, Eric Zier, Neil Williamson back on the field here in Nashville. And Aaron obviously has a great confidence in Douglas and Green, but was throwing to them a combined 11 times by design or check down.
No, it was check downs. If you look at what Missouri was able to do last week, a lot of cover two, so that two safety high look, and did a good job in coverage on top of that, able to apply pressure as well. So Aaron Murray very quickly had to get off his primary reads down the field, and was forced to check down. So it was a combination of good coverage, and then pressure from the Missouri defensive line, just rushing 4 last week, which is something that we need to shore up today, but forced him to get out of his hand quick and get to that second and third progression very quickly in the progression of the route.
The freshman backs were a hit catching the ball and toting the mail as they combined for 157 yards on the ground. J.J. Green is quickly conquering the myth that he's too small to succeed at this level.
I started out as a corner, going to camps, playing corner, and it was easy. So playing a running back, I never thought I'd have a chance to play running back because I was little. But now that I came to Georgia and I got the chance to play running back and prove to the world that I can, it's been kind of special.
I'm sorry, Eric. I meant to hand it to you there.
Not a problem. That was J.J. Green talking about when he came into Georgia, really not having a position to play. Was he going to play DB? Was he going to play running back? And now forcing his hand here to move into that running back position and giving an opportunity. Boy, is he producing very well. J.J. Green, he's got 281 yards on the ground, averaging 8.3 yards per carry. And Hondo, one thing about coming in your 5'9", 183 pounds, you've got a chip on your shoulder, and you get pressed every single level that you are at, where people don't believe that you can play because they make that judgment due to your size. You're not going to be good enough. Not really a surprise that he's able to step in as a freshman, because he's had to play with a high level of intensity, really at every level he's played at. And once again, at the highest of levels here in college football, doing a fantastic job with it.
Aaron Murray continues to destroy both Georgia and SEC passing records. These days, he's doing it with a receiving corps that also has been decimated by injuries.
Being in the right place at the right time, wrong routes being run. That's some stuff that we have to fix ourselves and that we have to get down before we move forward to play any games.
That's junior receiver Chris Conley. Eric, did you feel that the timing or route running was off more than on a couple of plays last week? And if so, is that simply the case that some of the guys don't have the reps and rapport with Aaron Murray?
Well, I think that's part of it, Hondo, and the timing was disrupted a little bit last week. I tend to think while we did see a few blown routes and some miscommunication in a couple of situations, I really thought for one of the few times in Aaron Murray's career as a starting quarterback here at the University of Georgia that he started to look at the pass rush that was getting after him pretty much all game long. And as soon as you do that, your timing is the first thing that goes, and then you're moving out of the pocket slightly before you want to move out of the pocket. It led to one interception where Aaron was trying to go to Chris Conley on the corner route and was throwing on the run, never really got set, underthrew that pass for the interception. So a lot of the timing issues that we have, you have to give credit to Missouri and the defensive line and the pressure they were able to apply.
All right, thank you, Eric Zier. At 10 past noon today, Eric will be upstairs in the analyst chair alongside the voice of the Dogs, Scott Howard. They'll bring you all the action for your Saturday afternoon. Coach Mark Richt joins us in about 45 minutes. Weather in Nashville, not too bad. Eric Hager from Channel 2 is here, and he was showing me the radar on his phone, and it's that rain is trying to sneak up on us. Maybe it'll blow over us to the north just a little bit, but it is coming from the west and headed northwest towards Nashville. Today's Tailgate Show is powered by Yamaha Generators. You're listening to the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
It's the perfect way to begin your Georgia football Saturday.
Start straight, cuts left, in the end zone, touchdown. What a sweet move, Todd Gurley.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Green again, straight up the gut, 40, 45, 50, tripped up a little bit, broke a tackle, weaving back and forth, 30, 25, 20, near sideline, looking for room, down to the 10-yard line. J.J. Green, all the way down to the Missouri 10.
Oh, there's JJ. Let's hope we can tear off a couple of those today, right? Hey, Dogs fans, win 2014 season tickets courtesy of Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines gives Rapid Rewards members the chance to win 2014 UGA season tickets. If you're not a Rapids Reward member, sign up and enter to win at GeorgiaDogs.com. Hondo on your radio this morning, along with our Loran Smith. Loran.
Thank you, Neil. We're happy now to visit with Joe Biddle, who was the columnist for both the Nashville Banner and the Nashville Tennessean since right after World War I, it seems. Joe, you are an old-timer, but you're not that old, so we're happy about that. And you do know the scene here in Vandy as well as anybody. You now have a website, blog, is that what it is, with a local CBS affiliate?
Yeah, I write my columns on WKRN.com. That's Channel 2, the ABC affiliate, TV affiliate. More and more TV stations are getting these guys that have been laid off or out of work in the print business and having them work on their websites. Rick Bozitz of Louisville would be one you would know. He went to an affiliate up in Louisville and quit the Herald Courier. So I think that's a growing trend because TVs don't have websites that really have any locally produced material.
Well, that's great. And you certainly would be the best person in Nashville to follow the Commodores, as you have for many, many years. An update. We're counting on you to give us a good scouting report on our show today. An update of Vandy. Where are they now, and what is your analysis of what the strengths and weaknesses are of the Commodore team?
Yeah, I thought they would take a step back this year. Didn't know it would be how drastic it would be, and that remains to be seen. Right now they're 3-3, but they haven't beaten anybody of note. They play Austin Peay and they play UMass, and they beat UAB up pretty bad, 52-24, and so they get their bowl eligible wins from teams like that. They still haven't gotten a signature win. They thought they were going to get one at Missouri. That was a big swing game, I think, for both programs. And Missouri put 51 on them, and they lost that game 51-28. So their defense has given up an enormous amount of points in four games, 39, 35, 35, and 51. So I think when you look at it, that's not going as well as they thought it would. And I think that when you look at offensively, they're getting off to slow starts. Missouri had them 20-0 after the first quarter and went on to beat them 51-28. So I think when you look at it, they've got to get off to a quick start today. They can't have any turnovers. They've been having some of those. Last year was a magical year. Vanderbilt doesn't win 9 games very often. I don't care who they're playing, Little Sisters of the Poor or whoever, but they still don't have that signature win, and I don't think they're going to have to scramble to get bowl eligible this year.
We see James Franklin from a distance. He has tried to create a new attitude at Vandy, and I know one of my best friends ever, Bobby Johnson, who coached here, always told me, we can compete pretty good, our first two teams, first offense and first defense, but depth is a problem for us, often showing up in the fourth quarter. But under James Franklin, has the recruiting of depth, better personnel, has that taken a step forward?
Lauren, it really has. Sometimes you can't see it, but the people in the SEC are realizing that now. When Bobby Johnson was here, and let me clarify this: if Vanderbilt had given Bobby Johnson what he asked for, which is what James Franklin asked for and got, then maybe Bobby Johnson would be in the same position that James Franklin's in. But he has come in there and changed the culture there. He's got these kids drinking the Kool-Aid. They believe what he preaches, and so they've really bought into what he what his program is going to be like, and he's a stickler for small things and large things, and so I think when you look at it, he's a guy that if he wants to leave Vanderbilt, and he's got a clause in his contract that's going to cost somebody a whole lot of money to come get him, but the big boys will come knocking if he can keep winning at the pace he has in the first 2-3 years here.
His offense, what's good about it? How effective is his offense?
Well, it hasn't been very effective this year. They lost their quarterback in Austin Rogers, and so they've come in with another senior, Carter Samuels, and he hasn't been able to do the same things that Rogers has been doing. They lost their second best receiver in Chris Boyd. He was one of those involved in that rape case that they had on campus. Not only hideous thing that's ever happened to Vanderbilt football, but certainly the most national attention when you get 4 guys indicted for aggravated rape and looking at jail time for some of them. So I think Boyd was his second leading receiver behind Jordan Matthews, and now they're double teaming. You'll watch today. I'm sure that Georgia's going to put at least 1.5 or 2 guys on Jordan Matthews because he's far and away their best receiver and their best threat there. So they're doing that. Jordan Matthews has continued to move up the ladder as the all-time leading career in receiving, and he's a guy that's going to play on Sundays, and there's no question about that. He's a cousin of Jerry Rice's, so the bloodlines are there, and he's a whole package. But you can't do it alone out there, and they don't have the running back that they had last year. Zach Stacy is now starting for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think when you look at it, it's a deal where you've got to replace some running backs, and they haven't been able to do that, and the quarterback hasn't been what they had last year, and I think up and down the line they're just a step off of where they were last year.
All right, Joe, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Joe Biddle, longtime columnist for the Nashville Banner, the Nashville Tennessean, still active here working with a local TV station. Very outstanding sports writer, Neil, and fine expert on Vanderbilt.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Thank you to Joe. Joe mentioned Jordan Matthews, Vanderbilt's star receiver and all-time record holder at the school for receiving yards and touchdown catches. Matthews is just 97 receiving yards shy of tying former Bulldog Terrence Edwards' all-time SEC record of 3,093. Let's certainly hope for various reasons that he does not catch up to Terrence Edwards today. Bulldogs fans, shop the UGA bookstore for the best in Georgia gear. And coming up next, the voice of the Dogs, Scott Howard. And we'll ask him, was that Arthur Lynch or Edwin Moses running those hurdles last week? Scott's next on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
The Bulldog Tailgate Show continues with this UGA Point of Pride. Presented by Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit them online at gfb.org. Now for the latest on the University of Georgia, here's Steve Bell.
Hey, Dog fans. A team of senior researchers at the University of Georgia have received a 5-year, $7.4 million grant from the National Institutes of Health to help better understand one of the most fundamental building blocks of life. Glycans cover the surface of every living cell in the human body, but they're not all good. This makes them an attractive target for new treatments, more effective therapies for many of humanity's most insidious diseases. And that's another Bulldog Point of Pride.
Hey, here we go. Everything's on now. 1, 2, 3,
The Bulldog Tailgate Show continues now on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Play clock at 7. They shift Hicks. They split the backfield now. Murray stands between them in the shotgun. Takes the snap, drops back from the 41. Wide open. Lynch in the flat. Lynch to the 45, to the 40. Hurdles a man down to the 30.
25-yard line. Big Artie Lynch pushed out of bounds by Braylon Webb at the 35-yard line. Artie went airborne, jumping over a diving tackler and got about 5 extra yards on the play and a first down.
I saw the kid kind of dug his head, and I figured if I could get over this guy, I would probably bring the crowd back into it a little bit dead, and it did bring the crowd back into it, I think.
Scott Howard, Neil Hondo Williamson with you back at Music City. Scott, last Saturday, Artie Lynch made like no Sean Moreno on that catch and hurdle, and then revealed this week who was on his mind while in midair.
Yeah, his sisters. He said he was thinking about them. As he put it, they were the athletes in the family. He got the size, so he decided to play football and instead of doing what they did, and that was hurdling. And Elizabeth and Frances, his sisters, were high school and collegiate hurdlers at Dartmouth and at Boston College. So that's it runs in the family.
That was pretty cool. I really liked when he told us that. All right, sound please.
But it's still very early in the season for people to start making judgments about this team. There's a lot of games left to be played, a lot to happen in the SEC, and like I said, go 10-2 with our schedule. And be able to still compete for an SEC championship if that happens. I think that's a great year.
Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray there. And Scott, I love Aaron's optimism. What do you say to the naysayers out there?
Well, there are some of those, and you don't have to look hard to find them. But I'm like Aaron says. I mean, we're halfway through the schedule. There's still a lot of football to play. Georgia is not out of the conference race. You got to let the games be played before you start burying anybody. And the caveat here with this is that now with the SEC loss to Missouri last week, and that's a division loss as well. There's literally no wiggle room for the Bulldogs the rest of the way. I mean, they have to win their games if they want to keep that goal alive of winning the East and getting to Atlanta. Now, that's not to say that something strange couldn't happen and still a 2-loss team could get there, but you don't really want to take that chance. You just got to win your games the rest of the way out to give yourself the best shot.
Well, today we get after it here in Nashville, and Vandy coach James Franklin has his Commodores buying into the idea that they can compete in the SEC.
Just historically, for whatever reason, it's been a really, really tough venue for us to go in there and not have a battle royal to the very end. So I'm expecting the fact that that's all we've had this year. I assume we're going to have another one like that. So Georgia fans, Mom, get ready.
Coach Mark Rick sounding the warning to fans and family alike that the Commodores are no pushover, Scott.
Yeah, he hears from his mom quite frequently.
Oh, I know.
And so he's trying to prepare in advance. And Vanderbilt's not a pushover. They weren't last year either. Georgia destroyed Vanderbilt last year in Athens, and that turned out to be one of the Bulldogs' better wins against a team that went on to win 9 games last year. So Vanderbilt's capable of beating anybody, but also capable of losing to anybody, as the Commies have done in all 3 of their SEC games so far this year. But, for whatever that reason is, and who knows what it is, it seems like when we do come up here, it's a last possession game, as we heard from Brandon Coutu earlier in the tailgate show. I mean, he wins the game on the field goal on the last second. The couple of years ago, the heated argument at the end of the game with James Franklin and Todd Grantham, that turned out to be a 5-point game, and comes down to the last couple of plays for Vanderbilt to try to throw it into the end zone to win the thing. So you can go back and look at the years here in Nashville. They haven't won, as Eric pointed out earlier. They haven't won here against Georgia since 1991. So Georgia has been able to get out of here with a win, and that's what they hope to do again today.
All right, thank you, Scott. Scott Howard, the voice of the Dogs, returns with Coach Richt in less than an hour. Team bus should be pulling up within 30 minutes or so here on our Bulldog Tailgate Show. Kickoff at 10 past noon today from Music City. Now, what are Eric Zier's desires for today's SEC Showdown? That answer is 2 minutes away on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Message.
Now, scores and highlights from around college football. This is the Charter On Demand scoreboard. Switch to super fast Charter Internet. Call 1-855-493-CHARTER or visit charter.com. From the IMG Network Studios, here's Cabell Philpott.
6 conference games on the docket today, a noon doubleheader starting it off. 15th-ranked Georgia at Vanderbilt, 11th-ranked South Carolina on Rocky Top taking on Tennessee. 12:21 kick. 14th-ranked Missouri welcomes number 22 Florida to Columbia for the first time as the Tigers try to stay undefeated in the race for the SEC East. 3:30 kick, number 24 Auburn at number 7 Texas A&M. A doubleheader as well, 7 o'clock tonight. 6th-ranked LSU at Ole Miss. Top-ranked Alabama hosts Arkansas at Bryant-Denny Stadium. ACC action today. Georgia Tech will welcome Syracuse to Midtown Atlanta for a 12:30 kick. And then top 25 action, the big one tonight, 8 o'clock kick in Death Valley. Number 3 Clemson taking on 5th-ranked Florida State. Hondo, will send it back to you and the guys. I'd be remiss if I didn't wish a happy birthday to somebody on the crew. It's the other bald guy on our crew. I'm not talking about Eric Zier. I'm talking about the voice of the Dogs. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Scott Howard.
Happy birthday, Scott Howard.
Well, it was earlier in the week, but thank you very much.
Okay.
The other bald guy. I appreciate that, too.
Yeah.
He called us all out on that one.
He did.
Okay, thank you, Cab. And time now for Eric Zier's D. Zier Z, what tops your list this week?
Well, my first desire is that this crew today, our team, that we don't bring up the 1991 loss anymore. Enough of that. But seriously, today, first and foremost, take away Jordan Matthews, 47 catches on the year, averaging 118 yards per game. The Vandy offense able to put up some points and do some very good things. Austin Carter-Smith, 66% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns on the year. But you take away Jordan Matthews, and this offense can struggle. Second, protect Aaron Murray. We've given up 13 sacks on the year. He was under constant pressure last week. This Vandy team likes to bring pressure. We've got to shore that pocket up for Aaron so he can step up and deliver. And then finally, create some turnovers on defense. Only 1 interception so far on the year for this Georgia Bulldog defense. Time to start turning that around.
All right, thank you, Z. Bulldogs fans, GeorgiaDogs.com is your first and best source for Bulldogs news, scores, highlights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes video. You can also buy authentic Dogs gear in the G-Shop or bid against other Bulldog fans in our exclusive online auctions. Visit GeorgiaDogs.com today. 10 past noon is tea time. Today is our 15th-ranked Dogs attempt to sink the 3-3 Commodores of Vanderbilt. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
The Bulldog Tailgate Show continues with this UGA Point of Pride. Presented by Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit them online at gfb.org. Now for the latest on the University of Georgia, here's Steve Bell.
Dog fans, your University of Georgia continues ranking well in the U.S. News and World Report's Best Colleges 2014 edition. UGA landed at number 20 among the nation's top public universities. Georgia's flagship of higher education is number 60 among the best national universities this year. The university moved up in both categories from 21st and 63rd on the 2013 list, respectively. And that's another Bulldog Point of Pride.
Setting the table for Dogs football.
Near sideline, put by the left man that had a chance. So long, everybody.
You're listening to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Charlie Mack with the University of Georgia Athletics Director Greg McGarity. And Greg, has college football become more unpredictable or more predictable in your way of thinking?
I think last Saturday would probably give you the best example that anything can happen. Penn State loses to Central Florida and then defeats Michigan. Michigan's got 1 loss and they're not in the top 25. It's kind of odd to see a Michigan team with 1 loss that's not even ranked. And you're seeing a Missouri team that came in undefeated and still undefeated. Now they're ranked ahead of us. I think 8 SEC teams in the top in the rankings this week, which is the first time ever. But you're seeing some stability at the top as far as Alabama, Oregon. Louisville's done a good job this year. Ohio State. It'll be interesting to see how the strength of schedule plays in. I know that may be a factor in some of the BCS formula right now, but there's going to be some undefeated teams at the end of the year. And we'll see how all of that plays out at the end of the year, because it'd be kind of tough to be on the outside looking in if you were maybe the third or fourth ranked team and undefeated and not having a chance to play for the title. Of course, that's what happened to Auburn a few years ago, but I think it is so unpredictable now that no one really knows what's going to happen, and it just shows you if you don't really have your A game every week, it's a good chance you're not going to come out on top.
As a leader of the Bulldog Nation, to me, I guess it's kind of like being the captain of a ship, steady through a rough sea or two, better seas ahead. Your crew's got to believe in that. You pull together for that to happen. To me, that's a formula that works, and this is a group of fans and students and other folks who love this university and know the leaders got you covered.
Well, there is a range of emotions in dealing with college athletics. You have to maintain perspective there, and I think that's one thing that I've been fortunate to have wonderful mentors that have really provided a sense of calm when there might be a little rough wave here or there. But we just know that things are going well for our program, for our football team. The leadership on this team is phenomenal. Like Mark has said several times, effort has not been the issue. I don't think there's one time that our fans could basically say, well, you know what, we didn't give it our best. And from an athletic director's perspective, of course, we want to win, every event we play. I'd love to win them all in every sport. I'd like to go undefeated throughout an academic year, but that's probably not going to happen. I don't think that's been done yet. But as long as things are tracking in the right direction, I feel good about things. And if I don't feel good about things, we address them right on the spot. We don't wait until the end of the year to address problems, regardless of what sport or what department or employees, what have you. We want to take appropriate action when we need to address certain things. But regarding football, I think we're 4-2 at the halfway point of the year. We got a tough game coming up in an off week, and then here we go again. I mean, the ranked teams just keep on coming.
Greg, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.
That's UGA Director of Athletics, Greg McGarity. I'm Charlie Mack. Now, Hondo, it's your turn again.
All right, thank you, Charlie Mack. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG. Coming up in about 20 minutes, Coach Richt and Scott Howard talk Georgia game plan as the Bulldogs look to improve their SEC record to 4-1 today here in Nashville. Today's tailgate show is powered by Yamaha Generators on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
It's the perfect way to begin your Georgia football Saturday.
Start straight, cuts left, in the end zone, touchdown! What a sweet move, Todd Gurley!
Welcome back to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
2 left and 2 right as far as the receivers go. They fake the handoff. Franklin nowhere to go. He runs right into Garrison Smith, who bear hugs him to the turf for the second sack of the game for the Georgia defense.
All right, let's hope we get some more out of those out of G. Smith today. Time for our picks. Last week, Scott went 2-1. Loran went 1-1. Coach Tony Ball went 1-0. Eric and I went 0-3. So Scott,
Sweet.
with a healthy 13-5 record, he leads the pack by 2.5 games over Loran and 3 over Uncle Hondo. And Eric, well, Eric's still slugging away, folks. Now let's begin with the Allstate Good Hands pick of the week, brought to you by Allstate, proud sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. Are you in good hands? Undefeated in 14th ranked Missouri, host number 22 Florida, Scott Howard.
Florida, because we need the Gators to win, and that's the only reason I'm picking Florida. Sorry, Eric.
Well, Florida's got those tough corners. They're going to shut down the Missouri receivers or play them to a draw, and then Missouri's been celebrating all week, so the Gators will win it.
That makes 3 of us on the Gators side, Z.
I'm going to go all 4 without James Franklin. Just going to be too tough for the Missouri Tigers.
Oh, you picking a Gator?
Oh. I did.
Man, I'm writing it down.
Number 5, Florida State at 3rd ranked Clemson.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be a great football game tonight. A toss-up. I think it's going to be tight. I like Clemson because they're at home.
Scott?
I'll concur. That's it's almost too close to call. We saw Clemson up close and personal several weeks ago. They're good, and they're very good at home. So I'll go with the Tigers as well.
Wow, I'm not going to make up any ground this week. Home field and the veteran quarterback play make the difference in the Tigers win. Loran?
Well, I promised Bill O'Leary, who played tight end for us, whose son Nick O'Leary is playing for the Seminoles, that I'd pick the Seminoles. So, friendship, I'm going with the Noles.
Okay.
Laura, I didn't know your picks were so deeply tied and deeply rooted. Man, you go way back. Yeah, I will pick that.
Well, it was very important. Bill said, I've been listening to your show. I want you to pick us this week.
Okay. Stamp of approval.
Very good. Well, then I should switch because Bill's wife, Nan, is real good friends with a friend of mine. No, never mind. With a friend of mine, Lynn. Okay. This game, Southern Cal at Notre Dame. Lauren, you can kick us off.
Oh, I got to go with the home team here. And then disaster in Los Angeles, I don't know that they can right the ship that quick. Notre Dame at home.
All right, this game needs Bill Clinton right now, okay, to shed a tear and say, I care, fellas. I really care about this game because I don't know if anybody else does. They're 4-2. Both of them are unranked. Common opponent, Arizona State. The Irish beat the Sun Devils by 3. Arizona State crushed Southern Cal by double digits. I'll take Notre Dame.
I'm right there with you. I like the Fighting Irish as well.
Now, this is one of those painful picks for me. I'll pick Notre Dame against every right bone in my body, but I'll go with the Irish today.
Boy, oh boy. So let me get this straight. Today, Eric, Scott, and I have chosen Notre Dame, Clemson, and Florida.
That is really bad for you two.
Next thing you know, I'll be picking the Russians in hockey. This is not good. All right, guys. Here in Music City, our 15th ranked Bulldogs take on 3-3 Vanderbilt. Kickoff is at 12:10. Coming up next, Coach Richt will sit down with Scott Howard, and within about 20 minutes, the legendary Larry Munson, one of his greatest calls on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Welcome back to the Bulldogs Tailgate Show. Scott Howard with Coach Mark Richt. It's time to take a look at the Vanderbilt Commodores, today's opponent here in Nashville. Coach, let's start with their offense and the guy who does everything for them, or so it seems, Jordan Matthews. What makes a guy like that so successful? Why is he such a good receiver?
Well, first of all, physically, he's 6'3". He's got great height. He weighs over 200 pounds. Very muscular guy, very strong. He's got speed. He's got agility. Some guys can run straight ahead real fast, and some guys got great change of direction, but not great speed. But this guy's got both. Plus, you add to the experience that he's had. He understands coverages. He understands this league. He understands what it takes. He could take a short one and make people miss and go the distance. He's a great blocker. I mean, the guy is a complete player. He'll be a very high draft pick. He'll definitely be playing in the NFL.
He's on the verge of breaking most of the SEC receiving records, and he's had to work with a handful of different quarterbacks, and he's got a new guy this year in Austin Samuels. What is that battery like between those two guys? What have you seen from their quarterback?
Well, when a guy gets as open as he does, it's pretty easy to throw to. You got to give Matthews a lot of credit. Like you said, playing with 2 or 3 different quarterbacks, he's had quite a career, and he's going to be a very difficult matchup for us.
What are some of the other things to look for from their offensive side of the ball, running game specifically?
Well, they've got 3 backs. 2 carry the load the most, number 3, Seymour, and number 24, Tate. Now, 25 will get in there some, Kimbrough, but the first 2 guys get the most. And Seymour's more of a shifty guy. He's not real big. He's 5'7", about 200 pounds, but very great at his speed and change of direction. And then you got Tate, who's a 6'1", 225-pounder, he's a pounder. He's a downhill guy. He's the guy when they get into their wildcat where he plays the quarterback position. He's the guy, and they run mostly power football when he gets back there. So that's kind of how they go about running the ball. Carter Samuels, their quarterback, can run the ball. He's a pretty strong guy, about 6'1", 225 himself. So he runs some, but the main guys running the ball are Seymour and Tate.
Defensively, what do you look for today from Vanderbilt?
Well, they like to blitz. They bring a lot of pressure, mostly 5-man rushes. a normal rush would be a 4-man rush. They like to bring that 5th guy, and they'll play cover 3 behind it. They'll play man coverage, man free behind it. And they'll play some cover 2 behind it as well. So they're very diverse in their coverages behind the pressures, but they do like to pressure. And then when they don't pressure, they like to run these games or stunts where the D linemen don't just have a straight rush. They'll run these little twists and things that tend to make it harder to pass protect and make it harder to run block them. So they'll do that a lot. And then in the perimeter, they got all seniors back there. Every one of them, their top 2 tacklers are both of their safeties. Number 1 Ladler and 31 Marshall are their top 2 tacklers, and they're very, very physical guys. Their best cover guy, I would say, is number 23, Hal. He's obviously he's a senior. They're all seniors, but he does a great job out there as well.
Is there anybody on that 11 that kind of jumps out at you as far as the defensive players are concerned?
Well, Westman, number 92, has been playing for them for quite some time. He's a Georgia boy, actually. I think they've got about 5 or 6 defenders that are from the state of Georgia. But Westman is a guy who's very steady along with May on the edge. But then there'll be times they'll put in a speed rusher. Number 55, he's got 6.5 tackles for loss already. And he's that speed rush guy along with this Weatherly, who's a freshman out there, number 45, that has given us some trouble. We've had trouble with the smaller guys that really got that great speed coming off the edge, so we got to do a good job of pass protecting today.
All right, that's Coach Mark Richt and our look at the Vanderbilt Commodores. We'll have more with the coach as we move through our Bulldogs tailgate show today. Right now, we'll send it back to Hondo.
All right, thank you, Scott. Georgia fans, if you want the most coverage of Georgia sports, you want GTV. GTV is the online destination for exclusive audio, video coverage, features, and highlights of Bulldogs athletics. Log on to georgiadogs.com/all access right now. The best way to follow the Bulldogs is GTV. Now stay with us. A legendary Larry Munson highlight is coming up in the next 20 minutes or so on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
The Bulldog Tailgate Show continues now on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG. What's Poppin'? It's the What's Poppin' player interview, sponsored by Old Mill Kettle Corn, officially licensed Bulldog corn of the University of Georgia.
Welcome back, Charlie Mack with Aaron Murray. Today against Vanderbilt, 2 more SEC records can be yours, and I know you're not a records guy. But still, to have had that type career and be this close to doing that has to be motivational.
It's definitely a huge honor to be, I guess, up there with some of the great quarterbacks in this conference. But like you said, it's all about wins. And right now we need to win. We need to win the rest of our games to have a chance to get back to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We feel very confident with our chances still. We understand that we need some help from Missouri to lose a couple games, but we got to take care of ourselves. We got to win ball games, and I think if we do that the rest of the year, we'll have a great shot to be able to play for SEC championship.
Aaron, no telling how many different questions you've been asked, and they're mainly about football, but really and truly, what makes you tick, honestly, what's always made you tick as a little guy starting out with this, and what got you to the point where you are now? I know your family is very close. They've been through some tough times. You've been through it with them. What makes you tick and keep going and be as good and as competitive as you are?
I mean, it starts with my parents. I mean, they really did a great job of raising us the right way, of making sure that we're very disciplined in everything we do, from school to athletics to just everything in life, and working hard at all times. I mean, they were just great examples of what hard work can do. And they really, like I said, just really taught us a lot, and it starts with them. But just, my love for the game, my love for my teammates, my coaches, is just to put in that extra time and work to make sure that, this team's as successful as we can be come Saturday.
If I remember the quote correctly from your mother, she said, Aaron always gets up when you're knocked down, you've taken some shots, and you always get up.
Yeah, you have to. And it's just like in life. I mean, that's what's so great about football is you're going to take your shots. You're going to have your bumps and bruises. You're going to go through rough patches, but it teaches you how to come back from it. It teaches you how to come back from a loss, come back from injuries, and it's just like in life. I mean, you're going to have tons of bumps and bruises. As you talked about earlier, just within my family, we've had, some bumps and bruises, and we've gone through it. And but like I said, football definitely teaches you a lesson, not only on the field but in life.
You got it together, and that's what it's all about. You're a class act.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's Aaron Murray. I'm Charlie Mack, and now let's send it back to Hondo.
All right, thank you, Charlie Mack. Loran Smith is standing by on the field. We'll talk to one of our assistant coaches in just a couple of minutes. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from Nashville, where it's Georgia and Vandy today at 10 past noon on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Bulldog Tailgate Show continues now on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
3 receivers and a tight end. Lynch on the right end. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Play fake Douglas. Naked boot. Murray throws in the end zone. Touchdown Conley! On a crossing route from left to right and caught it in the middle of the end zone. Beautiful execution by Murray.
Oh, hope we get some more of those today, folks, here in Nashville. I'm standing on the 36-yard line on the Georgia sideline. Going to pass it over to Loran Smith with a special guest. Loran.
Thank you indeed. It's special Jerry Moorhead, president of the University of Georgia, in your first season as president. But how many seasons have you been on the Georgia scene as a Georgia fan?
Oh, gosh. Over 30 years, Loran. I followed Georgia when I was a law student at the University of Georgia, and then my first year after graduation was Herschel's freshman year, so I was at every home game coming back to Athens.
What are you like in the president's box when the game goes on? Do you agonize when it goes poorly, and do you really celebrate when something good happens? What's your mood? What's your demeanor as a fan in the press box? If I sat in the press box, the president's box with you, would I see you jumping up and down, cheering at certain moments?
You certainly would. I try to contain myself. I know we've got a lot of dignitaries there from time to time, but I can't help but cheer when something goes well and anguish with our fans when something doesn't. But we've had a lot to cheer about this year with those exciting wins with South Carolina and LSU at home. I'll never forget those days in Sanford Stadium.
Well, you as president of the University of Georgia have a lot of interests. You have a lot of programs to promote, and you got a big store to mind. How important, in your view, is a successful athletic program?
I think a successful athletic program is important because it's a vital part of our university. Our fans care about it. Our alumni care about it. Our students care about it. I think our faculty and staff care about it. When we do well, it creates excitement. It creates energy. And as we move forward in the silent phase of our major capital campaign, every victory for a Georgia athletic team creates the kind of enthusiasm that increases support. Last night, I was here in Nashville. We had a wonderful alumni reception with our supporters that had come here for the game or live in Nashville. And they're all excited about Georgia football and the opportunities this season still has before us.
Now, and I know Greg McGarrett is athletic director, and believes that the scholarship is important, just not play on the field. When you have a player who really achieves in the classroom, and I guess one of the 2 of the players that we could point to now would be Aaron Murray and, of course, Chris Conley. When a student athlete really is a student and making high marks in the classroom, how much does that excite a president?
Excites me a lot. You know, Aaron Murray was a student in my freshman seminar, so I've known Aaron since he came onto the UGA campus, and I'm so proud of what he's done not only as a football player but as a student. He's represented us very well at the University of Georgia, and we're going to miss him when he finishes after this season.
How do you rate the health of Georgia athletics, and particularly football, specifically football, it's right?
Well, look at the standings. We're in the top 10 athletic programs nationwide based upon championships and finishes across the board. We're doing well. And in football, we've been in the championship game of the Southeastern Conference for the last 2 years, and we still have a chance to be there for the third year in a row. I think we're doing pretty well.
All right, we're doing well under your leadership. We'd like to thank Dr. Jerry Moorhead for joining us. A longtime football fan, Neil, going home after games. Jerry's always asked, let me see the stat sheet. So I think he's a pretty good student of football. We're glad to have him.
All right. Thank you, Loran. Thank you, Dr. Moorhead, for taking the time with us here in Nashville. Hey, Bulldogs fans, shop the UGA bookstore for the best in Georgia gear. We'll have more from Music City Dogs and Vandy kicking off at 10 past noon on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
You're listening to Georgia football.
Pick that thing up, get on it, do something with it.
Little jitterbug type thing.
Now back to more of the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Brendan Douglas back in the game as the lone setback, offset to Murray's left. Murray dumps it off to Douglas. Douglas makes the catch, runs through one tackler, and runs through another, and he may have the first down. Boy, he just blew up Matt White, the free safety, and then dragged him a couple of yards.
There's Scott Howard with the play-by-play from last week. Hopefully, Scott will have a lot of great highlights for you in 2 weeks when we're in Jacksonville for the Georgia-Florida game. Of course, today it's Georgia and Vanderbilt, and the drizzle is beginning to come down here in Nashville. Let's throw it over to Loran Smith. Loran.
We're going to talk to Tony Ball, missed here, Tony. What about the weather? Any feelings about the weather today as you get ready to play this game?
Well, I tell you, this is perfect weather. Slight overcast, and it's a little cool. So, you're able to to maintain a certain level of conditioning, and so this is great weather. This is football weather. This is perfect fall weather.
And the receiver corps, tough losses, but as you get ready to go down the stretch, how well off are you at receiver?
Well, I mean, obviously, when you lose, players such as Malcolm Mitchell and Justin Scott and Michael Bennett, I mean, those are, very, very, talented players, and then played an intricate role in our offense. But we've got some good young players, and they've prepared themselves for this moment, and they're ready to go.
Well, now, as the rain comes down, you're sitting here in a coat and tie, totally unruffled. I hope your players will be unruffled today when the ball is kicked off. What's the attitude of this team? Important game, they know that, but they've got to play with a certain intensity to win.
Well, they understand, as I said earlier. I mean, this is their opportunity. Again, you have, young players. And this is the opportunity they've always wanted to come to Georgia and to play in the SEC and to play on this stage, and that's what they're having an opportunity to do, and they're gonna rise to the occasion and take advantage of it. So I really feel like that they're ready to go. They've had a great week of work, and they're ready.
The offensive game plan, have you found some opportunities? I know you won't say specifically, but are there opportunities to exploit the Vandy defense today?
When you study opponents, you're always looking at, what opportunities they give you to make big plays. But Vandy plays a really sound scheme, and they've played it for years, and they're good at what they do. But more importantly, what we got to do, and we got to be patient, and we got to run our offense and protect the football and take the opportunities and the chances when they present themselves. But more important, the game plan today is for us to be patient.
Vandy blitzes a lot. Does that make it a little more difficult?
Not really. I mean, that's what they've always done, and they're gonna bring a 4, a 5-man, a 6-man pressure, and we understand that and we're prepared for that. But that's what they've always done, and. When you do that, when you bring that pressure, you also make yourself vulnerable for, down the field passing game or creases in the running game. So, it's feast or famine.
The injuries, the word has been that you might get Michael Bennett back next week. How much will that help your offense? Or 2 weeks to play Florida? You can't have him today, but If he comes back to the lineup, what does that do for you?
Well, it gives us someone that's got big game playing experience. Gives us more leadership. To go with Chris Conley and Rhett McGowan and Rantavius Wooten, and so it brings that back. And then for him to be able to come back, the week of Florida makes it even more special for him.
And our friend Runt, is he going to play today?
He had a good week, and if the situation presents itself, I really hope we can see him on the field today.
All right, Tony Ball, we'd like to thank you for joining us. We'll go back over to Neil Williamson.
All right, thank you, Loran. Thank you, Coach Ball. Great to have you here. A critical SEC showdown between the Dogs and the Commodores as Georgia attempts to keep pace for a third straight berth in the conference championship game. Our Bulldogs Tailgate Show is powered by Yamaha Generators on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Georgia football history.
45-40, run, Lindsey, and Butler kicked a long one.
Through the voice of a legend.
Clock running. And some stupid miracle could still happen.
Here's another listen back to Larry Munson's greatest calls. Sponsored by AT&T, the nation's fastest and now the most reliable 4G LTE network.
Vanderbilt up to the line. We got two wideouts right, one to the left. They have no running backs now. Well, one is almost behind the quarterback, not quite. Four wideouts, one man slanted in behind the right tackle. Pace dropping back with 16 seconds less than that. He's going to run to the right. He's showing a long bomb in a corner, and there he is. And somebody broke it up with a great leap. Terry Hogue got up in the air. He was 6 yards behind our coverage, deep in the end zone. Joe Kelly. Hogue landed awfully hard on his back. He's up limping now. Hogue got up with one hand and broke up a cinch touchdown down there.
Georgia football, then.
Oh, Lady Luck has defeated them.
And now.
Completely dominating football game by the Georgia Bulldogs.
Time for defining moments from the last time out.
Formation with Green, the tailback. Merritt Hall is the fullback. Conley lines up wide to the right. And Rantavius Wooten to the near side. They work from the far hash, moving to the left. Murray drops back, sets up, throws it. Fade pattern to Wooten, and he made the over-the-shoulder catch! Rantavius Wooten with a touchdown to the near corner.
Now let's break down the play with Eric Zier. Along with the All-American quarterback, here's Neil Hondo Williamson.
This drive summary is presented by Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go, Z.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hondo, that fade route there to Rantavius Wooten. Second week in a row, just a huge touchdown catch for Wooten, playing very, very good football. And Aaron Murray, one of the best in the game right now, with throwing that fade pattern. And the reason that he is because he's able to go back shoulder so often. And if the defensive back is in a trailing position, able to go over the top like he did there. On that drive, though, I want to take us back to a 4th down and 5 play to Chris Conley, where Chris Conley ran a curl route, got up, came back down the stem, and pretty good coverage on that play by Missouri. Aaron Murray on time releasing the football. Chris Conley goes up with his big, strong hands and pulls it down to keep the drive going. Capped off there with the touchdown pass to Rantavius Wooten as the Dogs started to try to claw their way back in it, even with all the injuries. Aaron Murray and this offensive football team behind this receiving core still continue to put up huge numbers.
All right, thank you, Z. We are the first leg of a doubleheader on CBS today. Vandy will make its first appearance on the network in more than a decade when the Commodores host Georgia today. Kickoff at 12:10. It's Vanderbilt's first home game on CBS since 1982.
And Georgia fans, just a reminder that Academy Sports and Outdoors is a proud corporate partner of UGA Athletics. The right stuff, low price, every day.
Eric Zier rejoins us shortly to tell us what Georgia's defense has to do to stop Vandy's attack. We kick off against the 3-3 Commodores just after noon. That's ahead on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Setting the table for Dogs football.
Near sideline, put by the left man that had a chance. So long, everybody.
You're listening to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
There's the snap to Franklin. 4-man rush. They have Franklin wrapped up at the 30, and they will bring him down at the 27-yard line. Big Leonard Floyd, the outside linebacker from Eastman, Georgia, with his first sack of the game, and Missouri will have to punt.
Well, the Bulldog sack patrol continues to ring them up. Ray Drew with 2 more, Leonard Floyd, as you just heard, and Garrison Smith with 1 apiece last Saturday. Eric Zier rejoins us to talk a little D now. We're sitting here on the 42.5-yard line in Music City at Vanderbilt Stadium. And Z, Garrison Smith surprised me a bit this week discussing third down conversions by opponents. Garrison laid some of the blame for the Bulldogs on the Bulldogs' pass rush. Listen.
We just got to get more pressure on the quarterback and, get back there faster, take some of the pressure off the DBs, so. Everybody just got to, like I say, the whole defense got to work together to make each other better. We got to work better to help the secondary.
Is Garrison falling on his sword for the team here? Our pass rush has been one of the least of our problems on defense of late.
Yeah, it really has. 16 sacks on the year, 47 quarterback pressures. I don't think when our coaches go to bed at night that what they're worried about is the pass rush that we've got. We've been very good in that area. But what you have here is a senior leader on this football team trying to take some heat off a very young secondary and keep their confidence high. He's absolutely right when he says you've got to have a team to go out there and execute. That's exactly what we need to do today. We're not getting it, but it's not because of the pass rush, that's for sure. We've performed very, very well there.
Coach Richt, I thought, rightfully defended the youthfulness of the defensive squad this week.
I think we're doing the right things. We just got to execute better, and part of it is the learning curve of the young DBs. I mean, let's face it, we're playing a bunch of rookies back there. And it's tough to be great at it when you're just learning as you go.
Then Coach Richt reversed course a bit.
We're game 7 now. We played enough games where some of these guys that were inexperienced when they got started, they aren't anymore. They got a half a season under their belt. So we got to keep making plays.
Eric Zier, how legit is it to expect a defense that plays 5 true freshmen with regularity to suddenly be grown up after only 6 games?
Yeah, well, suddenly growing up is not going to happen. What you expect to see is growth game after game, where you start to get lined up, where you make the fundamental plays right, where you don't have the mental lapses, you tackle well. I think that's where the frustration would set in, is the growth curve that we would want to see here. We're probably a little bit behind that on where we want to be. You're not going to have a group that is this young and inexperienced overnight wake up and turn into a group of All-Americans. They can get there. They've got the talent level. You want to see that steady growth. That's probably where the frustration's setting in.
Okay, one of the bright spots for the defense last week was cornerback Shaq Wiggins.
Shaq's creating a little problem for a big receiver to kind of get his hands on him, and so Shaq really did pretty good in that area. But when it came to the jump balls, it was tough on him. And it's tough on most any cornerback in that type of matchup.
Z, during the game, you pointed out several times that Shaq Wiggins made some fine plays on the ball, especially a couple that I can remember in the first half.
Yeah, he really did it. Every time that they tried to target, Missouri tried to target Shaq and go after him. And it started with some hitch passes and things up underneath, just in the flats, quick passing game. Shaq had a great burst of the football, has that unique ability in his zone drop to get depth while looking at the quarterback, reading his drop, not committing too early, and just great pursuit and action to the ball. Played very, very well. Where he got hurt some was later in the game because of that great burst that he was showing in anticipation. That's where the double pass came into play. They were trying to get Shaq to come up and bite because he wasn't guessing, though. He was in good position. Just panicked a little bit as that ball was coming in the air, got in the air and lost his balance a little bit, couldn't get up for the jump ball. Again, those are things that you can learn from and you'll get better at as you get in those situations. His athletic ability, his feel for the game, very impressive.
All right, good. Very good. Game plan in 10 minutes?
Game plan in 10 minutes. Looking forward to it. And Dog fans, join us every Sunday from 10 until noon, live from the Hilltop Grill as host Jeff Dantzler and Kevin Butler break down all of the action from today's game.
15th ranked Georgia and the 3-3 Commodores of Vanderbilt kick off at 12:10 on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
The Bulldog Tailgate Show continues with this UGA Point of Pride. Presented by Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit them online at gfb.org. Now for the latest on the University of Georgia, here's Steve Bell.
Dog fans, your University of Georgia students get better each year. The University of Georgia welcomes the most academically qualified first-year class in school history, with the highest GPA and SAT averages on record for entering freshmen. UGA also experienced a record number of applications, with nearly 20,300 received for fall 2013 admission. Since 2003, the number of freshman apps has increased by 72%. And that's another Bulldog point of pride.
It's the perfect way to begin your Georgia football Saturday.
Start straight, cuts left, in the end zone, touchdown! What a sweet move, Todd Gurley!
Welcome back to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Back in Nashville as we prepare for the 15th-ranked Bulldogs in a critical SEC matchup with Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, in the studios of CampusInsiders.com is our colleague Bonnie Bernstein. And Bonnie, welcome to the Bulldogs Tailgate Show.
You sound like y'all are having way too much fun this morning, Neil.
We are having a pretty good time, Bonnie. You know, it's a little overcast here, and we've been fighting off drizzle, but we're excited. You know, it's SEC football, and we love coming up here and having a great time. Thanks. Hey, for those of you who don't know, Bonnie is the lead anchor for CampusInsiders.com, and wow, what a great show you have for folks this weekend. First, the top 5 matchup between Clemson and FSU. Tell us about the connection that Buffalo, New York has to this Southern rivalry.
Well, we have guys from each team. So, of course, E.J. Manuel came from Florida State, C.J. Spiller, Clemson alum, and so Campus Insiders is actually partners with the ACC Digital Network, and ACCDN did an interview with the two of them, John at each other, although I didn't find out what the friendly bet is for whoever wins or loses this game. So it's just, you know, we like to have a little fun. There's been so much focus on this game, Neil, with the quarterbacks. I quite frankly think we should be talking way more about Clemson's defense and Vic Beasley and how their D-line can really bring a ton of pressure with just 4 guys, which is great because it just so happens that Jameis Winston, even though he's a freshman, has been very good when teams have been bringing the house at him. But yeah, stuff like the EJ-CJ thing just puts a little different twist on a game that is front and center in the college football world this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bonnie, on that defense for sure for Clemson. Who are you picking in that one?
I'm thinking Clemson for myriad reasons. This is why Taj Boyd came back. You got the reigning ACC Player of the Year. You got the game in Death Valley. You've got a team who wants revenge because they blew a lead against FSU last year. And for as great as Jameis Winston is, and he seems unflappable, I think one of the most important matchups in this game is going to be Vic Beasley, as we mentioned, for Clemson, going up against FSU's left tackle Cameron Irving. And Irving's a big guy. He's 6'6", 320. They have to protect Winston because he's going to see a pass rush that he hasn't seen yet this year.
Bonnie, the College Football Playoff Committee has been announced, and despite her meetings with Vladimir Putin in 2005 and her urging the U.S. Senate to back the later successful surge in Iraq and the 83 countries that she visited as U.S. Secretary of State, despite all of that, there's still some Cro-Magnon tights out there who do not like the idea of Condi Rice sitting on the Committee of 14.
Well, you know, as Pat Dye said, because she hasn't put her hand in the dirt. But it amazes me. So many people don't realize that lots of their favorite male sportscasters and sports writers never played the game either. And we were very fortunate at Campus Insiders to be we got the first one-on-one with Dr. Rice after the committee was officially announced. And if you look at her background, I firmly believe you're a product of your environment, okay? So she grew up in a household where there was a football waiting in her crib for her when she got home because her dad was a high school football coach in Alabama and an athletic director. Right. She is a diehard SEC fan. I had her on. I'd done 2 previous interviews with her, and she came on the Dan Patrick Show with me, and we did Chick Pick Friday. And she was breaking it down. These were NFL picks on top of her being a huge SEC fan. The woman knows her football. And I think, Neil, when you just, you mentioned some of her credentials. When you have a woman like a Condoleezza Rice who's been extraordinarily successful at everything she's done, why would her time on the committee be any different?
Bonnie, I didn't even begin to scratch her credentials,
You're right.
did I? Okay, now to the juicy stuff, Bonnie. A.J. McCarron and Catherine Webb, on or off?
We had a one-on-one with him this week, and we actually had him on because his cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer right before SEC Media Days. And if you saw any of that coverage, you might remember he was wearing a bow tie to just raise awareness about breast cancer research and stuff like that. So we thought October would be a nice time, but there was no way he was going to escape without me trying to get the goods on what was going on with the Catherine Webb situation, because we've heard it's on again, off again, and he insists they're going strong. He doesn't understand why the TMZs of the world keep saying they're not, they are, they're not, but I think he's focused more than anything right now on getting that third straight national championship ring. I'm not going out on a limb there, I don't think.
No, I don't think you are either. Thanks so much for joining us and for putting up with some of the TMZ stuff that I'm asking you, not just the straight football stuff. But it was such a fun and fast-moving show that I watched, Bonnie.
Oh, thanks, Neil. Appreciate it. And if you want to check us out, we're on CampusInsiders.com. We're on Twitter at Campus Insiders. And if you have any questions for me, I'm at Twitter at Bonnie Bernstein. Have a great day, Neil. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks, Bonnie. Bonnie Bernstein with us here on the Bulldogs Tailgate Show. And Dogs fans, GeorgiaDogs.com is your first and best source for Bulldog news, scores, highlights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes video. You can also buy authentic Dogs gear in the G-Shop or bid against other Bulldog fans in our exclusive online auctions. Visit GeorgiaDogs.com today. Once the SEC's all-time leading passer, the still wonderful and talented Eric Zeier returns next with his game plan for the Dogs. Today's Tailgate Show powered by Yamaha Generators on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Now our pregame coverage continues with today's game plan, presented by Country Financial. Visit countryfinancial.com. Grow your own way.
Murray steps up in the pocket, throws on the run downfield. There's Wooten, makes the catch. Oh, and they tackle him by the ankle, or that would have been a long one. It would have been 75 yards, but E.J. Gain got an ankle on Brentavious Wooten all the way down to the Missouri 27-yard line.
Eric Zeier back with us on the field here in Nashville. We're down at about the 42-yard line. And if Georgia wants to throw the ball deep today against the Commodores, they'll have to do it in the face of pressure.
They blitz a lot of five-man blitz. They'll play zone behind it, 3-deep zone behind it. They'll play 2-deep zone behind it. They'll play a lot of man coverage behind it. They like to bring the fifth guy a lot.
That's Coach Mark Richt talking about the multiple looks that this Vandy defense can and will give the Georgia Dogs today. A lot of zone blitz, so dropping linemen while they're bringing 5. They're going to show 6 and then actually drop a lineman out and get to zone reads behind, or to zone looks behind that. And the reason that defenses do that is to take away the hot routes that typically you would throw if you don't have a guy picked up that is coming on a blitz and force you to go into a different direction. Georgia this week are coming off of last week's game where we struggled some in pass protection. We mentioned earlier in the show that last week was one of the few times that I've seen Aaron Murray start to look at the pass rush as it was coming to him. That got him off time a little bit, threw a couple of passes off balance. Offensive line has got its work cut out for him today, not only in picking up the blitz, but identifying where to go and who's coming.
On the other side of the ball in the backfield, the Bulldogs will rely heavily on the freshman tandem of Brendan Douglas and J.J. Green, who was pegged as a defensive back coming out of high school.
Of the two positions we thought, one was corner, one was receiver. We didn't even think tailback.
Oh, well, we lost Coach Rick there, but that's okay. And what Coach was talking about was J.J. coming out without a real position. He was listed as an athlete.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, at 5'9", 183, we have all seen the athletic ability that J.J. has. He is very fast, very agile, has got good quicks as well. But at 5'9", 183, you really question, where am I actually going to put this guy to make plays? Well, I think he's answering those questions, not only for this coaching staff, but for the Bulldog Nation. He's averaging 8.3 yards per carry. When he's getting his opportunity, he's making plays. And on top of that, he is a physical player as well. Things that you want to look at with running backs, not only are they running the football well, but are they good in the passing game? Are they good with protection? He's excelling right now at all of those things and making his mark. He's had to live with being 5'9", if that, for his entire life. He's got a chip on his shoulder because of it. He's going to come out and continue to play well.
All All right, thank you, Eric Zier. We'll return with Eric, Scott Howard, and Loran Smith in just 2 minutes to talk about today's game. Then Scott and Coach Rick with the Inside Skinny. That's less than 10 minutes away here from Music City. 4-2 Georgia, ranked 15th in the nation against 3-3 Vanderbilt. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Message.
Now, scores and highlights from around college football. This is the Charter On Demand scoreboard. Switch to super fast Charter Internet. Call 1-855-493-CHARTER or visit charter.com. From the IMG Network Studios, here's Cabell Philpott.
Counting you down to Georgia and Vanderbilt on the Charter On Demand scoreboard. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG. Cabell Philpott back inside the IMG Network studios. Another team fell from the ranks of the unbeaten last night as UCF scored in the final minute to stun Louisville 38-35. So some opportunities for other teams around the country looking at that national title picture. Number 11, South Carolina taking on Tennessee at noon, along with 15th-ranked Georgia getting together with Vanderbilt on our broadcast, of course. At 12:21, number 22, Florida travels to number 14 and 6-0, Missouri, to try to take down the Tigers from the ranks of the unbeaten. A 3:30 kick in College Station. Number 7, Texas A&M hosting number 24, Auburn. At 7 o'clock, a doubleheader in the SEC as well. 6th-ranked LSU on the road at Ole Miss. Top-ranked Alabama will hook up with Arkansas at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Top 25 action, couple of other top 25 matchups. 8 o'clock kick, 5th-ranked Florida State takes on number 3 Clemson and Death Valley in each of the past 4 years. The winner of this game has gone on to win the Atlantic Division. Also, a Pac-12 matchup, 9th-ranked UCLA and 13th-ranked Stanford will clash heads in Palo Alto at 3:30. And in Midtown Atlanta, Georgia Tech will take on Syracuse for a 12:30 kick. Let's send it back out to Nashville. 15th-ranked Georgia and Vanderbilt coming up at high noon. Here's your host, Neil Hondo Williamson.
All right, thank you, Cab, and go Orangemen today in Atlanta, no doubt. Scott, there's a shakeup in Georgia's offensive line this week. Will you please share with our audience who and, to the degree that you know, why?
Well, John Theus will get the start at right tackle today for the Bulldogs over Colton Houston. Those two guys have been splitting time at tackle. Houston's moved around across the entire offensive line for most of the season, as a matter of fact, but had settled in there at right tackle. But today's change, according to the coaches, is based on the fact that they thought Theus played a better game last week against Missouri. It's as simple as that, but both are expected to play today.
Turnovers, the Bulldogs are at -4 for the year with only 1 interception. Lauren, Mark Weiser from the Athens paper had a nice piece on it this week. He notes that the Dogs have been ranked in the top 30 nationally in turnovers gained in each of Todd Grantham's first 3 seasons. At present, UGA is 117th in the nation in turnovers gained with 5. How much of the drop-off is personnel, and how much is simple luck?
Well, I don't know that luck figures into in any way except for injuries. But, you know, those are old dogs. The current dogs, they're ones that we got to play with, and they just simply do not have the experience. But as we said earlier in the show, playmakers make a difference. What would Jarvis Jones mean to this team today? We just haven't developed a playmaker. I think the team is really got to come to a point, the defense I'm speaking of, for a breakout game. And the critics have not been kind to the defense, and particularly to Todd Grantham. So I think the incentive of the defense this week is to show everybody that they are not playing as badly as the scores indicate, and I think they're going to play a much more efficient game today.
Yeah, you know, I would disagree with that. I think luck does come into play with turnovers. I think that a lot of times the ball ends up on the ground, and sometimes it just comes to your guys, and sometimes it doesn't. Of course, you know, we're all fighting and diving for it, but sometimes it can bounce a funny way in football, really unlike most other sports, that because the ball is oblong, it will take some funny bounces.
Yeah, but it seems to bounce in the hands of the better teams.
It does seem to bounce into the hands of the better teams. I understand it's that way in any sport, but luck plays a little bit more into it, I think, with football than any other sport just because of the ball. Really, I believe that. Weiser also noted that in 2011, our Bulldogs tied for second in the nation in fumbles recovered with 17. And in 2011, we were fifth with 20 interceptions. So as Loran was saying, having players like Jarvis Jones, Alec Ogletree, and others on the team, Bakari Rambo certainly helped those numbers with the talent. Injuries. Not only is Todd Gurley still on the shelf and Keith Marshall done for the year, but our receiving core has been reduced significantly due to injuries.
Being in the right place at the right time, wrong routes being run. That's some stuff that we have to fix ourselves and that we have to get down before we move forward to play any games.
That's Georgia receiver Chris Conley. And Aaron Murray admitted to hesitation last week with so many different faces lining up at receiver. And Eric Zier, tell us, what's the difference when we get down to the fourth line of receivers? Because make no mistake about it, when a few of those guys are in there for many snaps, you're way past Mitchell and Justin Scott Wesley, Bennett, Conley, Wooten, McGowan. You're down in the fourth and fifth line of pairs.
Yeah, you really are. And if you think about it, all off season, all through camp, all you're working on, you throw hundreds of passes a day to the guys that you're going to have out there, and the timing that you develop is hard to replace. And the timing has to be so precise. You know, when you talk about throwing out routes, it's 1.5 seconds between you take the snap and when you launch the football. Even going a half yard too long will throw off the timing, and the result is an incomplete pass. So no question it's going to have an impact. That will get better week after week. I think the other thing, too, where we had some issues with timing last week really was the pass rush and the pressure that Missouri applied to Aaron Murray throughout the game. He started looking at the rush a little bit, and then instead of getting that football out right at 1.5 seconds, you move just a little bit, and now you're getting the football out late. So it makes the problem or challenge a little bit more. That will get better week after week as these guys get more reps together, though.
It is blustery in Nashville. We did not expect this weather. This is not what the weatherman was telling us all week. And it is cold, it is windy, it is very overcast. The lights are on here in Music City, and we've got just a touch of sprinkle coming down on us here on the field at Vanderbilt. We'll tee it up against the Commodores at 12:10. Thank you, Scott, Loran, and Eric. Georgia play-by-play man Scott Howard sits down with Coach Mark Richt to give us the inside skinny about this crucial SEC East contest today. And Loran, tell us what's going on.
Pri-America Player of the Week, Ray Drew of Thomasville, the junior defensive end, is third in the SEC in sacks. He has 7 tackles, 2 sacks against Missouri last week. And he's got 7 sacks, I think it is, for the season. And he only had a half sack in his first 2 seasons. 22 tackles for the season, 6 tackles for loss, leading the Georgia team. He's a licensed minister, an excellent cook. And very appropriately, today in Music City, USA, Ray is an advocate of country music. His goal is to attend the Grand Ole Opry, something Neil Williamson has always wanted to do. Ray picks and sings with Chris Conley, among others of his teammates on the Georgia team. So Ray Drew, a country music advocate, and is going to be a minister of defense here before long. He's making great improvement. The coaches really like his play, and our thanks to John Addison and all our friends at Pri-America for helping us honor Ray Drew, Pri-America Player of the Week.
Thank you, Lauren. And I just kid about the country music because I like Corey Smith and Kenny Chesney and all sorts of people. Thank you so much, Lauren. And that we have Coach Rick coming up with Scott now 2 minutes away on the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
We continue with the Bulldogs Tailgate Show. Scott Howard back with Coach Mark Richt once again as we take a look at the Bulldogs getting ready for the Vanderbilt Commodores on this Saturday morning here in Nashville. Coach, tell me about practice this week and some of the things you were working on to get ready for the Commodores.
We definitely got to get ready for their defense again. The pressures that they bring. If you really know what you're doing, you can stick a hat on them, get a blocker for every guy that comes, and hopefully get as many guys out in the route as possible. There'll be some times where we'll try to release all 5 of our eligible receivers and have our 5 linemen to block their 5 rushers. So if you do it right, you can hold the ball long enough to go downfield with it. If you don't get the protection right, you'll have to throw it hot. You'll have to throw it quickly. So one of the chess matches will be, trying to match up the right protection with the right blitzes that they're bringing. And then obviously I think we've got to establish the run. I think we've got to let them know that we can run the ball and really help out our play action pass. And, there's going to be probably a little bit more sets with a couple tight ends in the game instead of some of the 3 receiver sets, maybe some 2 receiver, 2 tight end sets with Jay Rome and Artie Lynch capable of, running those routes and handling those concepts together. We want to keep them fresh too, but let's face it, it's going to be a cool day. There's enough TV time out to keep everybody fresh.
Todd Gurley's still nursing the ankle injury and trying to get back to full strength. J.J. Green and Brendan Douglas have done a nice job for you. Talk a little bit about their progression and if you're surprised at all from what they've given you.
Well, when you watch them practice, you can see they've got ability, and you can see that they're capable of handling the job description. J.J. being here in the spring helped him a lot to be able to spend all that time at tailback all through spring and the summer and all that kind of thing. And, Brendan Douglas just did a good job of learning what to do early. He was fighting hard for that number 3 spot, really, with J.J. Early in camp. And then I think he had something that slowed him down, some type of injury slowed him down for a minute. And right now, when it comes to a number 3, I think Brandon Harton would be the next guy up. And Harton has practiced extremely well, and Harton has had a lot of experience within our system, but he's a very fast guy. He's a tough kid, and he'll probably get a few reps as well.
Fans always like to talk about the guys who may be coming up or may not be getting the playing time. They want to know, why isn't this guy playing? Why isn't that guy playing? Well, finally, this week, Jonathan Rump able to get back to practice. Might see him today. Can you talk a little bit about his week of practice and what you saw from him?
Well, he's healthy enough to practice, and he's healthy enough to play, which is good. That hamstring injury was just lingering quite a bit, but he is physically able to go. He's still a brand new player for us. He's not a freshman because he's a junior college guy, but he's still really learning what to do, getting comfortable what to do. And then when you add pace to our no huddle, and then you add playing in a real game for the first time for Georgia and all that. I mean, I don't know what to expect other than we're going to get his feet wet and see how he does.
Offensive line, a little bit of a change there with John Theus getting the start today over Colton Houston, but those guys I don't know if they've been interchangeable, but they've both played a lot.
Right, they've been sharing a lot of time at the right tackle position, which I think's been real healthy for both of them. But Theus had a great week of practice last week. Going into the Missouri game, and then and really he just performed better in that game. So, he's getting the nod this week, and Colton will certainly play. And but John earned it, and he's the man today.
Georgia and Vanderbilt coming up. Coach, much good luck. We'll see you after the ball game. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Scott.
That's Coach Mark Richt. Hondo, we'll send it back to you for more of the Tailgate Show.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I'm down here on the field, down near the end zone now, about the 16-yard line, and I'm with Swan Seiler, who is our resident meteorologist. Swan, what'd you tell me that it's just so people know, it's overcast and windy and drizzly. What are you seeing on your radar?
Well, it's perfect UGA weather, I'll tell you that. We were just looking at it, and it looks like it's going to get out of here in about a half an hour or 2 hours. Who knows? It's so far so good. UGA's pretty happy about it. And we want to keep him cool, so this is good weather for him.
This is good weather for UGA, and it's great to see all the Vanderbilt cheer squad come over here. They all want to see UGA and say hello.
This is a very hospitable stadium, and I think these folks have always been great to us and to our team, so it's really a pleasure for us to come to Vandy.
All right, thanks, Swan. Thanks for taking the time. We'll take a break, then come back. It's Georgia and Vanderbilt today, kicking off at 12:10. The Dogs are right on the field in front of me. Receivers and defensive backs getting loose. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Setting the table for Dogs football.
Near sideline, runs by the last man that had a chance. So long, everybody.
You're listening to the Bulldog Tailgate Show.
Green again, straight up the gut. 40, 45, 50. Tripped up a little bit, broke a tackle, weaving back and forth. 30, 25, 20, near sideline, looking for room down to the 10-yard line. J.J. Green all the way down to the Missouri 10.
Hope for more runs like that from JJ today, and let's hope we can hit the Commodores early. They've certainly been ripe for it in 2013. Vandy has been outscored in the first quarter 54-17 this year. That includes trailing by double digits in all three conference games against Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Missouri by the end of the first quarter. Also of note, Aaron Murray has 2 more SEC career records that are within reach today. Currently, he ranks second in total offense and touchdown passes. Aaron has 12,203 yards of total offense, trailing Tim Tebow by just 29 yards. Also, the SEC record for career touchdown passes is 114 by Danny Werfel. Aaron has 112 TD passes entering the Vanderbilt game, including an SEC best 17 this year. Well, it's cold, it's windy, and it's drizzly here in Nashville. The weatherman up here, at least, and on the internet, got it wrong because they were saying even as recently as 8 o'clock this morning that the precipitation would miss us, and instead it is drizzling, and it's not very nice. As we pack up our gear down here on the 42-yard line, we'd like to thank Tony Schiavone, our producer and engineer, Campbell Philpott, scoreboards and production, Adam Witten, producer, Charlie McAlexander, contributor. Thank you for tuning in each week. We sure enjoy communicating with you. For Scott Howard, Lauren Smith, and Eric Zier, this is Neil Hondo Williamson. The BB&T countdown to kickoff with Scott, Eric, and Chuck Dowdle is next. Then our Bulldogs take aim at a 4-1 record in the SEC as their quest for a conference championship continues here at Vanderbilt. This is the Bulldog Sports Network from IMG.
Georgia came out of the pack with the football. Georgia's got